Biden and the Democrats are doing everything they can to tear down this great country and rebuild it in their woke, radical image.
This fringe agenda includes biological males competing against girls, and the sexualization and indoctrination of our children.
Every day, Americans are dying. Murdered, assaulted, raped by illegal immigrants that the Democrats have released. Teenage girls and boys wearing colored wristbands are being sold into a life of sex slavery.
We become totally unhinged if Donald Trump is not elected in November.
Well, the unhinged part is actually accurate. Well, so much for unity. That was just a little taste of the dark, dystopian, fake masculine, anti-LGBTQ, anti-immigrant vision of America that we heard over the course of the past 4 days from the Republican Party. All of which can be boiled down to two words: Project 2025. Joining me now, Basil Smikle, Democratic strategist and MSNBC political analyst, and Joan Walsh, national affairs correspondent for The Nation. Thank you, friends. I appreciate y'all being here. Let me just get your thoughts on all that you saw in Ladies First. Ladies First. I mean, because ladies were not first at that convention.
No, absolutely
It was not about women at all.
No, it was
Were you surprised, by the way, that abortion not mentioned at all?
It's not popular. And they got what they wanted. They're going to keep taking it, and it's not popular, so that's off the table for discussion.
Yeah.
But what I think is so interesting, when he picked J.D. Vance, I was like, it's the He-Man woman haters club.
Yeah.
Doubling down on misogyny. I mean, the things that J.D. Vance has said, criticizing women who leave violent marriages because they should have stayed together for the children, or they should have stayed together like his wacky grandparents did, completely against abortion under any circumstances, against subsidized daycare, because you're subsidizing something that normal people don't want. Normal people meaning the wife stays home.
Right.
So, I mean, the level of misogyny that Trump embodies, J.D. Vance expresses in policy ways, has a very serious policy agenda that's anti-women. So that was freakish to me. Mass deportations now as a fun sign to
and
wave.
they could drop balloons on it.
Yeah,
it was fun for everybody.
That was really fun.
Let me play a little sound mash, because there was sort of a manosphere. It was sort of like the manosphere that people aren't familiar with it. It's on YouTube. All these YouTubers who are like man-tubers, and it's all about bringing the country back to like the 50s where the men are in charge. Here is a little taste of the entertainment.
They tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again.
Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight.
Let me be very clear. If you are a man in this country and you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not a man. I mean, who are you? You're not going to vote for that? I mean...
Okay, Basil, the thing about the kind of the conservative Republican version of manliness is that it is supine in its obedience to Donald Trump.
Right.
So it's a man that's taking the knee and then being macho by hating women.
It's a toxic masculinity. There's no question about it. The Hulk Hogan thing, I was like, really? My God.
He's like 80. I don't want to have like an 80-year-old ripping on his shirt.
That's just, right. That's just, and the funny thing is, actually the tragic thing, is if I showed as a black man any level of that kind of confidence, I'd be considered uppity
and aggressive and dangerous.
And they'd be a noose ready for me.
Right.
Back in the days that they're trying to take us back
to the point that you made, when the black man who was the most sort of prominent, who showed himself off, was Tim Scott.
Right.
But he didn't do that kind of masculinity. He did sort of a bug-eyed sort of vaudeville act.
That is exactly right. Let me talk about the misogyny, because you know how deep it gets, and I was talking about this the other day. There is a national plan to get rid of no-fault divorces. How crazy is that? Right. 50 states now have them. This is a way for these men who want to push this to keep women potentially in abusive relationships. That's why we have no-fault divorces, so it made it easier for women to get out of those situations.
And by the way, Donald Trump's whole lifestyle would be impossible without no-fault divorces.
That's exactly right.
But here's the thing, Joan. I mean, you wrote a great book. I always tout it. It's called What's the Matter with White People? Which what it did was it talked about the way that sort of white men have been conditioned, right, into a kind of politics that doesn't necessarily help them economically. But here's the thing that's interesting. People forget what Joe Biden's superpower was in 2020. Here's 2016 versus 2020, how white men voted. Hillary Clinton only got 32% of white men. Trump got 62%. You take that to 4 years later, Trump gets 57%, Biden got 40%. That's part of the reason that Trump was so afraid of him, and it's one of the reasons that they despise him. He's actually dangerous. He's basically the real J.D. Vance.
He's the real J.D. Vance. He's getting that voter back, or at least some of those voters, even the white, non-college educated white men.
That's who he is.
Yeah.
He's college educated,
right,
but he comes from them, right?
He comes from them.
And didn't write a book dissing them.
No. A book that dripped with condescension to the people who raised him and got him out of, got him to where he is now. I guess that's Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Who got him to where he is now.
There he is.
That's why the freak out is so disturbing, because it's not like those voters are going to go, that don't like what they're seeing now, are going to go right to Donald Trump. They want to find a way to stay with Joe Biden.
Right.
So the Democratic Party just needs to show these signs of strength, not this constant freak out that they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think what Joe Biden has done, and I've been saying this, he's got 3,894 delegates. And he's like, come get them. You want them? Come get them. They're mine. And I'm keeping them. And you know what? To me, that's a sign of strength. And that's a sign of vitality. And that's a sign that he wants this and he's in this. And why is there this creation of these stumbling blocks to just make him look weak, make the party look weak, because all we're doing is sending voters away.
Yeah.
When they actually want to stay with us.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other piece of it is the sort of diss to a woman.
That is
on this side, on the Democratic side as well.
Yeah, because that is the most disturbing. And I saw you had Latasha Brown on, and I think that there's an enormous anger. There's a fear of putting her in a position where she loses.
That too.
But she cannot be passed over. And you will see a ferocity should President Biden decide to do the right thing for himself, for the country, and step aside. He would have to endorse her immediately, and then you might see people falling back in line, falling in love.
Yeah, otherwise it'll be civil war in the Democratic Party. I can tell you that. Don't go anywhere. Basil and Joan are sticking around, because guess what we're going to do? We're going to play our favorite game, because you know what? Even when times are terrible, somebody won the week. And for more on Republicans' extreme policies and how Project 2025 promises to upend our republic, go to msnbc.com/readoutproject2025, where we are breaking down that horrid document one topic at a time. And we're going to continue to do so until the election.